Hey, welcome back, guys. So we're continuing with our pre-race prep, and what we're going to do is we're going to pull the calipers off and pull the caliper slides out and clean them, lubricate them, make sure they're fully functional. So whenever we hit the brakes, we actually have brakes. So because this car set all winter, sometimes whenever these things set, it can cause some issues. So that's our next step. So we use for the Cavalier, we use a 3/8 hex. Knock this loose. These weren't done too many races ago, but it's been set in a long time, so just take them apart just to make sure they work. We don't want to show up at the track and end up with some binding brakes or something, because that's kind of a pain to fix at the track. Yep. Off. There we go. And the brake pads look pretty good still. You can see the cobwebs from it setting. Now the boot around the piston and the caliper looks good. So that looks good. Won't have to mess with that. That is good. Let's pump these bolts out. There's one. 2, and these bushings should slide out pretty easy. They want to. Let's get rid of the brake pads so we don't finger them up and get them all greasy. And there's a little bound up in there. I'm trying to do it so you can see. Yep. One thing's for sure, it's not going to fall out. Yeah, before my hands get too dirty, let me get rid of these. There. I'm going to need a drift. Let me go grab a drift real quick. I got everything close by. That's good. Sleeve in there we want to get out. Yep. And the other side. That one there seems a little stiff. It's a little. So I'm going to get that out. Set the caliper up there so it doesn't hang down on the brake hose. We don't want to stress that. Got my trusty oil drain pan here, so we can actually clean everything right here. Any drippings, we'll just go right into that. Looking down the side there, make sure all the schmoo is gone. Looks good. Clean the bolts up. I also want to look at these points here where the brake pads rest. There's little shiny spots here, here and here. I'll make sure that that those are clean as well. Yeah, everything looks pretty good. Okay. Now I want to clean out the cavities here where the bolts go. Bolts and the slides. Them out. I want to get absolutely sure. Nice and clean in there. There's some rubber inserts, and I don't really feel the need to pull them out. I'll just clean them up. Let's see, there's some dirty stuff out of there. It's all good. Hope you can see this okay. Hope you can see what we're doing. Let's put the proper caliper up there. I'm going to take our ceramic brake lube. Mix that up a little bit. Oh, that's good stuff. I like the color. So shouldn't need too much on here. Just get a little bit on the bolt here, nothing crazy. You don't want to goober that up too much. In fact, that extra, wipe that off. Let's put a little bit on the outside. Spread that around. Again, hope you can see all this. And just slide that. Yeah, that's not good. Yeah, 1 second here. Now we got to clean. This is our life. We'll clean that off. I'm not going to worry about the bolt because that was already clean and it just fell in my oil drain pan and it wasn't exposed, so I think we're okay there. We'll just recoat this. A little bit on there. Spread that around a little. Maybe just a little bit more. This stuff's supposed to be good up to 3,000 degrees, so if we get the brakes that hot, we'll have other things to be concerned with. And then we're going to slide it in from the outside. It's one. Push it back. And set that up. Let's get our second one that we cleaned. Put that stuff on there. Wipe off the excess. I also want to get some of that on the threads too, just to help keep the threads from going. My neighbor's running his weed eater. The kids are playing. It's a nice spring day here in PA. Slide that little guy into place. Let's see here. There we go. It feels like it's sliding pretty good. Okay. Now I'll take just the tiniest little bit on my finger, right where that brake pad rides. I don't want to get enough where it's going to be slinging around all over the place, getting on everything. I just want to give that brake pad the best opportunity to stay free. Now, if this is a street car, I'd also put that lubricant on the piston here, and that would help keep the noise down. You know, whenever you hit the brakes, there wouldn't squeal. Of course, being on track, we're not going to worry about that. Put our pads back in. Seems to be seated pretty good. Make sure that's seated right. tight all the way up in there. You need to get that in there where the pad touches the caliper right there. Make sure it's square in there. The other shoe in. And then set that in place. Oh, our shoe's not seated all the way. There we go. It doesn't seem to want to seat real good. There we go. It should slide back on there, but of course it's not. Alright, let's try that. Pull our bolts back out of the way. We need to push the piston in just a little bit. There we go. Probably on that, it'll pull the piston in a little bit, and that's all we needed. So we're going to get these started. Pull them up where they line up the bolt holes with the caliper bolts. Started. I'm not going to tighten that first one down until we get the second one started. It's about started. There we go. Have to go crazy on those, tightening them down. They have to be tight, but not too tight. Alright, so next thing we will do is we're going to bleed the brakes. We're going to bleed the brakes in all four wheels, and the caution after all of that is whenever we go to move the car for the first time, we want to make sure we pump the brakes up to bring the pads up against the rotors. Otherwise, you can drive right through the garage. So stay tuned in the next episode for the next round of preseason prep. Thanks for watching, guys. Like and subscribe.